It's going to be, probably shouldn't put it this way, but it's going to be strictly just coming out of the Bible, the verses. I guess the reason why I say that, if you ever preached before, normally you kind of just hit on the topic and go off of that. But this one, God would save me in many different ways. Believe it or not, actually the topic is the spirit of joy.
The spirit of joy.
The spirit of joy. And I wanted to sing this song beforehand, but once I heard them up here, I'm like, we don't even need to sing it. But then God was doing something on the inside of me. I just was getting real anxious, nervous. And then it was like, never mind, bro. We need to get this song. We need to do it. We got to do it. So a spirit of joy. And actually, we're going to rewind back to the first chapter of 2 Corinthians. First chapter of 2 Corinthians, and I'll be starting at verse 3. Praise be to God, the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father who is full of mercy and all comfort. He comforts us every time we have troubles. So when others have trouble, we can comfort them with the same comfort God gives us. We share in the many sufferings of Christ. In the same way, much comfort comes to us through Christ. So, Jesus Christ went through some things, didn't he? He went through a lot.
All right.
But he had that comfort with him. That's what he said down to us, that comforter. And we share that. And we're going to go through some of those things that Jesus went through.
Come on.
Absolutely.
There's so many things that happen. Quan, can you stand for me real quick? So, say we real cool, which we are. All that.
Yeah.
And then when time comes, turn it back around.
The other way.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. He turned his back on me. Now, I don't know how many times Jesus had to go through that. He went through that so many times.
Yes.
Thank you. And we're going to come back later and see how do we deal with that.
Amen.
Continue on to verse 6. If we have troubles, it is for your comfort and salvation. And if we have comfort, you also have comfort. This helps you to accept patiently the same sufferings we have. Our hope for you is strong, knowing that as you share in our sufferings, you will also share in the comfort we receive. Mm-hmm. Brothers and sisters, we want you to know about the trouble we suffered in Asia. We had great burdens there that were beyond our own strength, so that we even gave up hope of living. Truly, in our hearts, we believed we would die. But this happened so we would not trust in ourselves, but in God, who raises people from the dead. Now, right there when it said, in verse 9, truly in our hearts. Now, remember, this is Paul to the church, Corinth. Truly in our hearts, we believe we would die. When you trust in yourself, things don't go to plan. I kind of had that same feeling, and a few years ago, sometime midway through college, this is when I was just start to really figure out, trying to leave the old stuff behind and walk into the light God has provided me. And one Saturday morning, I can't remember what was going on, but all the men was supposed to come here one Saturday morning and just pretty much just talk, just chat, whatever you want to talk about. And they came to me, they said, 'cause I haven't said anything like for the past hour and a half. They said, Mark, anything you want to just talk about? And this was something I've been dealing with for the past 3 months at the time. I said, I feel like I'm putting all this work into school. I'm going through it. I'm the type of student that I can't just receive the word from the lecturer, the instructor, and just go ahead and take the test. I got to put numerous hours in. And I said, I really felt like, what happens if I fail? I do all this work. I don't even graduate.
Come on.
Now, Pastor might not remember this, but he came and spoke up and said, somebody who's dedicated as you, who puts that time in, there's only one option.
That's right.
First he said, usually it always works out. And he said, no. it's going to work out.
Right.
And just that seems so simple when he said it, but when you're in a whole different mindset, when your spirit is not right, you don't receive it. You don't recognize it.
Come on, that's right.
And
That's
right
right.
there, I was reaching out, trying to recognize it. That spirit of joy came in and said, "Get rid of your spirit, Marco, your own flesh. Let God intervene." Sure enough, after that, everything went uphill.
Amen.
That spirit of joy, I wasn't walking in it. I might have been coming around here. Quan was saying, some people they put on we want to call it front, whatever, fake smile and all that. Hey, how y'all doing? All that. Just being me. That was just me. But at the time, I was walking in a form of depression. Probably not the regular depression y'all really when you hear the word, but I was in a form of depression. But after that, a light switch. That spirit of joy came into play.
Amen.
That was verse 9? That's I'm on verse 10 now. I'm sorry, see, I'm losing my spot. So God saved us from these great dangers of death, and he will continue to save us. We have put our hope in him, and he will save us again. And you can help us with your prayers. Then many people will give thanks for us, that God blessed us because of their many prayers. This is what we are proud of. And I can say with a clear conscience, and everything we have done in the world, and especially with you, we have an honest and sincere heart from God. We did this by God's grace, not by the kind of wisdom the world has. Now, when I look out here, I truly see a bunch of success all over. I do. Can't say that everywhere we go. I see a bunch of success. And the reason why I see it, because like it says here, we did this by God's grace, not by the kind of wisdom the world has. Quan, everything you accomplished so far, everything you achieved, by God's grace only.
Amen.
Pastor Edwards, you came in here, probably wasn't for sure what you was getting into all together and all that, know what was going on. Look where you at now. It's God's grace. When we have an anniversary coming up, 20 years, the man that God had start this off, that was all through God. Even though I just seen something recently that somebody put a statement out there, said he was like a man after God's own heart. What they said about David, a man's after God's own heart.
That's right.
I can attest that.
That's
he was.
right. Yes, he was.
He truly was. He was probably a man that's always having fun and joking, but at the same time, he was all about God's business. But that was only through God. And you see where it stemmed off to until now.
That's right.
They had a certain joy about them inside of them to make this happen.
That's right.
Deep, just let me know, a couple weeks ago, there's a song on YouTube from Committed. It has like 800, 900 hits. When you type the song in, the artists pop up, and right there is us. That ain't by, trust me, it ain't by none of the singing and all that. It ain't none of that there. That's because of what we walk in. They see that joy. They do. They see that joy that we have, how we're on fire for God. This is not a facade. They see this is what real life is. Trust me, that's what success is. It's not success by racking in money, trying to go out there and claim what we got, talking about we made it going viral, but no. We're just happy that it's growing bigger than Columbus, Ohio. That's that joy we're talking about. God's joy is spreading.
Amen.
Now we're going to go down to chapter 2. Starting with verse 5. Someone there among you has caused sadness, not to me, but to all of you. I mean, he caused sadness to all in some way. He caused sadness to all in some way is the punishment that most of you gave him is enough for him. I'm sorry, let me read the whole thing again, verse 5. I mean, he caused some sadness to all of you in some way. I do not want to make it sound worse than it really is. The punishment that most of you gave him is enough for him. But now you should forgive him and comfort him to keep him from having too much sadness and giving up completely. So I beg you to show that you love him. I wrote you to test you and to see if you obey in everything. If you forgive someone, I also forgive him. And what I have forgiven, if I had anything to forgive, I forgave it for you, as if Christ were with me. I did this so that Satan would not win anything from us, because we know very well what Satan's plans are. Real quick, right out there before verse 11. What are we talking about here? We're talking about forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it takes a certain spirit to really understand what true forgiveness is.
Anything.
Quan, stand back up for me, bro. Y'all remember like 3-4 minutes ago, the example we was doing? We was all cool and all that. When something came up, when the fire was flaming, my brother turned his back on me. But now if we are true men or women of God, and we said we operate in love, kindness, how we're so joyful, I can go to this brother, turn him around.
Yes.
Say I love you no matter what.
Right.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
But now people don't, I don't know if they don't want to accept that, or they don't have the desire to try to learn and accept that, because it's that spirit. That was that verse 12, or was that verse 11?
11.
What are we talking about here? I did this so that Satan would not win anything.
That's right. Come on.
From us, because we know very well what Satan's plans are. We know his plans are. Plan of depression, oppression, a plan of fear,
Oh, he loved that one.
a plan of destruction, a plan of dividing. Mary, can I scoot in right here? Now, this is Satan. He's trying to come and divide. I think this was deep yesterday. He said something about what Satan would try to do. He would try to divide my lovely couple here. Marquand McCarroll and Kiara McCarroll.
Oh, he tried.
Guess what? The people they kicked me right out and said, no. No. That's right. No, you can't have it.
Kiara.
That's also something dealing with in Sunday school, actually. We were talking about lusting.
We were.
That's another form of spirit from Satan. He's going to try to come anywhere he can. It's just that. It doesn't just have to be in relationships. It can just be in his church. He's going to try to come in and try to divide somehow. Whatever we got going on. What type of businesses we're getting going. AC. I know you know, man. They're going to be... Satan's busy. He's going to try to come in, Isaiah. Y'all know he's going to try to come in and just tear what he can down. But that's when y'all hold on tight together. You take that pride in that joy you got. You take pride in that. Chapter 3. We'll start verse 1. Are we starting to brag about ourselves again? Do we need letters of introduction to you or from you, like some other people? You yourselves are a letter written on our hearts, known and read by everyone. You show that you are a letter from Christ sent through us. This letter is not written with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God. It is not written on stone tablets, but on human hearts. Now it says stone tablets. That's kind of stone age. If you go down to modern age, our story should not be on that iPad tablet, Mr. Stewart. Our story should not. We should be walking around with it in our hearts.
Say that.
Now, if you go back and ask the people I probably haven't seen since high school, ask 10 people with just describe me in quick words. They might have said this dude was a bookworm. They might have said he was a jock, literally doing every sport he can, try to be the best he can, knock everybody out. Or they might say aggressor at times. Somebody do this dude the wrong way. He's going to snap. Or they might say he's just a real cool guy. He's always smiling and just having fun. Probably a lot of different things. Or they might say this dude thought he was so good he went down to South End in Columbus just to get a date for his whole senior year. There's plenty of things they might have said. That's because I wasn't walking in that spirit of joy. I was walking in that spirit of flesh. So they just let Satan just work all around me. Me just not paying attention, just caught up in a rat race. Y'all see how this joy is kicking in? How we can triumph anything Satan has coming at us. You can't tear that down. You can't tear that joy. If you got the, I ain't talking about the joy that y'all hear from different things out here in the world and all that.
Right,
You know,
come on.
happy music. And all the music was good yesterday, but that type of music, like you said, is temporary.
Don't laugh.
That joy from God is unbeatable. All you need is to try it once. That was also said in Sunday school. You try it once, you good. If you try the other things, it might be good the first time. You can take that hit of cocaine and all that, but you trying to get that same high back, you can never get it back.
You can never get it back.
You can never get it back. But when God keeps getting greater, 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 and greater,
Get that monkey.
there's no pinnacle. The pinnacle is in Him. I'm at verse 4 now. We can say this, because through Christ, we feel certain before God. We are not saying that we can do this work ourselves. It is God who makes us able to do all that we do. He made us able to be servants of a new agreement from Himself to His people. This new agreement is not a written law, but it is of the Spirit. The written law brings death, but the Spirit gives life. Now, we know about that law. It wasn't when it was originally planned out. God knew that wasn't going to sustain anyway. All it just revealed sin, and how wretched man can be. But He had to call somebody. He had to get a new spirit in here, Jesus Christ. That spirit of joy that He's walking around with. Even when He was down, when He hadn't got in the form of depression, Jesus, that joy was still kicking in. When Satan still tried to come and tempt Him, couldn't shake Him. Couldn't shake Him. That's that spirit God's talking about in here.
Yes, sir.
That's that new law we under. Now I'm going to jump to, I know I'm jumping up and around all 2 Corinthians. We're going to go to chapter 6. I'm just trying to give y'all different examples and different forms of what the spirit we should be walking in, what spirit we should have in us.
Yes, sir.
Chapter 6, starting with verse 11. We have spoken freely to you, Corinthian friends, and have opened our hearts to you. Our feelings of love for you have not stopped, but you have stopped your feelings of love for us. I speak to you as if you were my children. Do to us as we have done. Open your hearts to us. Now, you ain't going to receive a spirit of joy if you keep your own self in bondage.
Yes, reconcile.
If you sit there and just put your own self in a way, if you think you can't do this, you think you can't accomplish that because you have a lack of confidence. God didn't have it set up that way. He didn't have it set up for us to sit there and just worry and just build up stress and then just go sporadic and fade away. That's not what He had planned for us. What He had planned for us is just to walk in truth. To walk in this Bible. To spread it to everybody else. He wants us to be joyful, even in the down times. Even when we're in our darkest hour, we feel alone, just crying, don't know where to turn to. Mommy, daddy gone. We don't know where they at. Church is a mess. God has something for that. He has something for that.
Thank you, Lord. Yes, He do.
Taking on chapter 7. And this is actually, this Bible here, the Expanded Bible, chapter 7 is entitled Paul's Joy. We're going to start in verse 2. Open your hearts to us. We have not done wrong to anyone. We have not ruined the faith of anyone. And we have not cheated anyone. I do not say this to blame you. I told you before that we love you so much. We will live or die with you. So what it said right there was that verse 3.
Verse 3.
I told you before that we would love you so much. We would live or die with you. Now, it may sound odd or you might think it's absurd, but Are you willing to lay it on the line?
Right.